Could you imagine opening your mouth and saying, I don't have the confidence to put up 10 to 1 odds to fight you, and a month ago you lost to Josh Hinger?
But tell me what your opinion is on a potential matchup between Gordon and the Ruotolo brothers after what a dominant win he had at ADCC.
Um, Here's the issue with Gordon Ryan right now. There's really nothing that interesting. Gordon needs some type of freak matchup right now with what he did at ADCC. I mean, he fought the biggest guys, and then he fought the ADCC GOAT at the time, Andre Galvao, and just dominated. I mean, he made it look like a Naga. He really almost kind of ruined the show in my mind because it was just like, man, he just made everybody else like look average compared to himself. And so some of the special performances in hindsight, you're like, well, they're still not even close to Gordon. Gordon doesn't have any true rival right now. He doesn't have anybody that I think anybody with a mind can go like, look, Gordon's going to crush Tye Ruotolo. No offense to Tye. I'm a huge Ruotolo. I'm a bigger Ruotolo fan than Gordon Ryan fan. But I always try to look, especially as an analyst, at, just not with my heart, but with my mind. And I'm not betting any money on Tye Ruotolo. Gordon beats him 10 out of 10. Tye's too small. Gordon's got probably 40 pounds on him. Tye's walking at a 185. I mean, he was undersized in the under 88 kilogram division. He lost to his teammate Josh Hinger in the first round. He didn't medal. He made it to the absolutes. He got to the semifinals, but he didn't win a gold medal. And so there's really nothing exciting for me about. I think it's just the wrong time to call him out. It's the wrong time. But obviously, there's a lot of bad beef between the Atos camp and Gordon Ryan. And I think the Ruotolos in the future could be one of the people that humbles and really, knocks Gordon down a peg. But in my mind, that's a couple of years away, possibly the next ADCC. 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. They need to put on size, and especially if they're talking about putting on size naturally. I mean, it's going to take them quite a few years to fill out and get up to 215, 220.
Like, at this point, like, in order for that to go, go through your head and come out of your mouth, like, you just deserve to be in a mental institution at this point. Unless you had a fake match with Josh Hinger, and then you publicly admit that, and then get banned from ADCC.
That Kyle Boehm, who made it to the finals of this past tournament, there was some drama online. He already took the post down about it, but basically about there being fake matches. And I was just curious, like, what would be the point in having a fake match? Like, what does anyone get out of that? Or is there some type of like reputation that people are trying to save? I don't understand the call out and the drama of that.
Yeah, so it's a big deal, especially in ADCC, because it's supposed to be a lifetime ban. So there was a match that actually happened with Andre Galvao. He was going against, I believe it was it Murillo Santana? It was somebody like that. I can't exactly remember the details, but anyways, that was supposedly like an alleged fake. Maybe it was Robert. I think it was like Robert Drysdale. One of those guys. Anyways, you're gonna have to look it up. I'm talking to the listeners, but somebody like that supposedly had a fake match. It was like Drysdale or Galvao or somebody. They were teammates and they had a fake match, I think, in the semifinals. And the real big issue with that, because what Kyle was alluding to is that Gordon and Gary had a fake match. And I had heard the rumor of that. You look at it, it's a weird looking match for sure. But they're two guys, they're two teammates. And, you're talking about a guy that gave, like, Gary was Gordon's coach. He and John Danaher gave him his black belts. It's a really weird thing. Now you're matching up in the ADCC absolute, and you're expected to go to war. Like, it's tough, guys that, have been trained together forever. They know each other's game, like, back and forth. And Gary made a real quick mistake, got his back taken by Gordon, and Gordon finished him. But a lot of people just thought it looked too easy. Gary wasn't scrambly enough. Like, it looked like he just kind of gave him his back. There was another match between Eddie Cummings and Gary Tonin at one of the early EBIs. That Gary Tonin, he ended up winning that EBI, but there was people alluded that was a fake match. And so Eddie Bravo actually for a long time said that there could only be one representative from teams, he didn't know. You don't know if it's true or not. It's hard to say. And I've seen matches at tournaments from local to, again, as high up as ADCC that two teammates are going against each other. How real or how, I know that Gordon's alluded to Josh Hinger and Tye Ruotolo having a fake match this year. I don't know. I don't think any of us know the absolute truth. Now, are these guys like going at it, but they're not going 100% because it's their teammate? They're not going to, do a patch a goalie and really like they get the heel hook. Are they going to try and rip on it? I don't know. But the big issue is that there is a competitive advantage just in the fact that you're not having to go to war, right? Like it's kind of like you're getting an easier match than somebody that is going to fight tooth and nail. And I think it's a big problem. I'm a big fan of like teammates fighting it out. Don't enter a tournament with your teammate if you do not have the intentions to try to kill them. I don't want to see, like in IBJJF, they'll get to the finals and then they'll just bow out. They'll both just, whoever the senior student is will take the gold medal. And to me, it takes the fun away. Like we're talking about the gold medal match and you're not going to have it. Like, I think that's a huge issue with the IBJJF. And I think, there's a potential of, fake matches being a big problem in the sport. There's been nothing like egregious to me. Like all those examples that I mentioned, I don't think any of them were, none of them looked like fake matches to me. It wasn't like, I don't think so. I think the weirdest looking one was Gordon versus Gary, but at the same time, I don't think that was a fake match at all. I really just feel like it was two guys, like Gordon's way bigger than Gary. Gary just knew he had to get on something. He made a mistake, showed his back, and Gordon took it. And just look what Gordon's done to everybody. Honestly, he's beaten people so bad they all look like fake matches just because he's made it look so easy. But yeah, there's a lot of accusations being thrown out there, and I think there always will be, but I don't think we'll ever know the truth.
So Kyle's recent post was about ADCC. It wasn't about the past EBI tournament?
I just know it was an alluding to fake matches, and I just kind of bringing up all the fake matches that at least that okay. I know of, and so yeah, there's a couple of names right now, right? Like if you mention Gordon Ryan or you mention like the right team, social media, it works. We saw it with Conor McGregor, right? Like if you've got the right shit talk and you say the right people's name, you will get paid. And I like Kyle Bame. I'm a big fan of Kyle Bame. I think he's a really one of the top grapplers, especially when it comes to like sub only. We've seen his point game improve, but he's definitely a sub only specialist. He had a great run at EBI absolutes. But at the same time, you got to stay relevant and you definitely got to be good on the mic. That's something we tell our students here is like, when you get an opportunity, we want you to conduct yourself in a respectful way. But at the same time, nobody wants to hear somebody that's like, yes, I trained hard. I did good. Thank you. I'm going to thank my coaches. Like, yeah, that's not interesting. Have a name on your, always have a name ready to say after you win.
Yes, 100%. That's exactly what I feel like the casual fans of jiu-jitsu really need is like the storylines to get interested in the first place. So moving on to our next jiu-jitsu drama topic, going back to the Lex Friedman podcast where Danaher was finally voicing all the drama between the DDS split and all that good stuff. Did we ever get an answer from Craig Jones about what the gym stealing was, or was that simply answered through like the funny videos that he collabed on Instagram?
The Danaher Lex Friedman podcast was fascinating. It's 5 hours. If you're a jiu-jitsu junkie and you really should go and check it out, right? But he starts off the first probably 30 minutes of the podcast. Lex asks, he's like, hey, before we get into, he sets it up perfect. He's like, before we get into the success of the team at New Wave, what you guys just did at ADCC made history, just was phenomenal. We got to talk about the darkest times. We got to talk about the split. And Danaher alludes to, look, the split mainly came down to personality differences, and it really involved a family split between two brothers. He didn't go any deeper than that. You know, you're going to hear all these different rumors. You get on Reddit or you get on somebody's Instagram. There's a million different. I've heard so many different things. I have no clue what happened, right? But Danaher said something really interesting, right? The squad splits up. They decide to move to Austin, and he says, hey, we had a gym picked out, and then they came and stole our gym. And so that's a pretty heavy accusation, you know, because Danaher's like, look, we had no gym because they came and took our spot. The gym they're currently training at was supposed to be our location. So we were homeless, you know, and you're just imagining Danaher and Gordon, you know, they're homeless and they're, you know, they're out in the cold and they've got no training partners. Most of the squad left. Like, and it's a really good painted picture, you know, because it does make you kind of like, and especially what they did, it makes it that much more amazing that, yeah, like they just had a bunch of people join the squad over the past really 9-10 months, and they had the success that they had. It's incredible. But Craig came out and was like, look, this is completely false. You know, we did not steal their gym. And he was like, and at one point he was like, look, I need to come out with a statement, or I need to come out with a video and explain what happened. He never did. I don't know the truth of what happened. You know, is Craig Jones, you know, just this gym stealing Australian who's relocated to the United States. And, you know, he tried to thwart, you know, New Wave's plans, but Gordon and Danaher prevailed in the end and made history. You know, I'm sure there's truth to both sides, right? Maybe Danaher had been, you know, but at the same, like, had probably been in communication trying to get that lease, and maybe something didn't work out, and then Craig came and, you know, the B team squad took it. But anybody that doesn't believe that there's a real rivalry here between these two is crazy, you know, because people are still like, I bet they're still secretly training together, or I bet that they you know, the team mends and they're back training together after ADCC. No, this is a real split. They're not getting back together anytime soon. And these guys don't like each other, you know. Now, Craig says he doesn't really have any big beef. You know, it's not his place to say what the splitting beef actually was. But I mean, there's definitely some animosity between those two teams. And honestly, I love B team New Wave matchups. I'd love to see Gordon, you know, switch his attention from Atos to the B team. And I'd love to see that rivalry really be kind of at the forefront in jiu-jitsu for the next couple of years.
Yeah. And it's just so unfortunate that you kind of have to assume that the family beef is probably between the Ryan brothers. And you kind of just imagine, well, what my take on it was, maybe Gordon Ryan has just high expectations, and maybe he was putting so much pressure on Nikki or yelling at him and different things, and then there might have been drama there. But has there been any sources of like validating or specifying what that drama was, or it just was left at what was said at the Lex Fridman podcast?
No, you know, I've heard seriously a million different rumors. From this guy said he trained with Craig Jones and Craig told him this, or this guy knows Nikki Ryan, or this guy sponsors Ethan, and this is what. I have no clue. The only thing we know for certain is that there's definitely a personality, like there were personality issues, and it was between Gordon Ryan and some of the guys. Now, who are those guys? I'm not exactly sure, but it was enough. I mean, you can kind of see, like, I think actions always speak louder than words. And just look, I mean, most of the squad left. You had Oliver Taza, Gary Tonin, and Gordon Ryan. Those are the only three DDS that stuck around. Everybody else left. And, you know, that's a pretty big statement. And, you know, I know a lot of people like to look like B team had a phenomenal ADCC as well. I mean, 2 silver medalists. Obviously, Nikki Rod just winning EBI Absolutes looked amazing. Both teams are on fire right now. I mean, Craig beat Nicholas Marigali. Like, that was a huge match, one of the biggest matches in ADCC history. Marigali coming out saying he was going to submit Craig Jones easily in under 4 minutes. Craig coming out, and he even said, like, that's the match. He was like, I wanted to submit him so bad. He ends up winning a rest decision, you know, and you could, like, those guys respect each other for sure. But man, Craig wanted that submission bad. He's like, look, my old coach is in the corner. These guys that we kind of have bad blood with. I got Marigali calling me out saying that I'm an easy match. Like, he wanted that. He wanted that match really bad. But yeah, there's too many things to say. Like, I definitely don't want to say anything because, like I said, it's everything from, was it relationship, like with like women were the issue, or was it just Gordon Ryan, you know, his Instagram personality, or is it something else that's completely unrelated? We don't know. And until one of the main parties, particularly the Ryan brothers, says something, we'll never know.